Hey everybody, this is First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Pam. It's almost midnight. I wanted to do a quick update because it's a Friday night and there's a couple things going on with Irma that I wanted to talk about as we go into the weekend, and people are freaking out because it doesn't look like the storm is turning. Well, maybe it is and maybe it isn't. If you look carefully at the satellite loop tonight, it looked like it was moving more west and it wasn't making the turn, but watch the last couple of frames here. Look what the eye does. Does anyone notice what you're seeing there? And just to reiterate that, I'm going to show the Go 16, which is a 1 minute updated frame. And if you look carefully, looks like a little jaunt back to the north. It was trying to make a landfall in Cuba, then it's starting to turn north. So a lot of folks wondering, is this thing going to continue west? So it's not going to continue west. It's starting to make that turn, I believe, right now. And just to kind of reiterate that, if I widen this out, the one thing I'm noticing here is a telltale sign as we're starting to see the outflow expand as it interacts with the stalled front. That's usually a sign that, excuse me, that the storm is going to start churning in that direction. And I think what's happened is we've seen a little bit of a pause as it was making that southwest movement, and now it's starting to return back to the north. Let's go back to the faster loop, and you could see, yeah, I'm going to put the cursor right there. I don't know if that's short range, but that eye is drifting back to the northwest. So it's starting to make that turn. Now, the scary part is this clearly is a Category 5 hurricane once again, and the forecast track takes it right along the northern edge of Cuba, makes that slower turn. Now, remember, this is, because of the way this is drawn, it's probably going to be more something like this. Or like this. So it's somewhere in here. And again, the whole cone is in play here. But this will be devastating storm surge for South Florida. There's just no way around it. This is going to push a ton of water up in here and big time winds. Now, that being said, this little western jaunt, it still could be out here just offshore. So the Big Bend area of Florida, that's why you're seeing hurricane watches are now issued in here. And even the Panhandle, I would keep my guard up. New Orleans, hey, it's New Orleans. I lived there 4 years. You're going to keep an eye on it. Anything gets in the Eastern Gulf, you start worrying. But I wouldn't worry about it right now. This looks to be a Florida storm. It's going to hug the coast and then move up here. And you can see it's going to head back into Tennessee and be a big rain and wind maker for areas way up into Georgia and Tennessee. Now, here's the deal. What about the model plots? Let's throw those on there real quickly for Irma. And you're going to notice this is about the tightest clustering of models we have had with this storm in the history of Irma. I mean, I can't remember. Again, cross this out. Look at that. That is a tight envelope. I mean, all the way up into Tennessee, that's about as good a consensus as you're going to get. So I know people are looking at the satellite data going, this doesn't look like it's moving. I'm telling you, it's moving back to the north. Water vapor loop, you can clearly see what's going on here. Here comes our two short waves. They're going to come down here and be a big cutoff low. And if you look, the outflow is already getting pulled to the north. It's already happening. There's an influence from this trough starting to pull on it. Remember what I said. When you start to see the outflow expand in one direction, if it goes this way, it's going northwest. If it's going that way, it's being pulled north. If it's going that way, it's being pulled northeast. Watch the loop here. It's starting to get pulled to the north. So the influence of these short waves and the trough to the north, and the fact that it's getting away from the ridge, this window is opened up, folks. It's starting to come north. Now, because it's a big storm, it's not taking a sharp turn. It's doing a more gradual turn, and it's going to move right over Florida. In fact, everything you look at, it's pointing to this happening. So it's still on the way. Don't let your guard down in Florida. Remember, the whole peninsula is going to be inundated with at least 100-mile-an-hour winds up into northern Florida. The winds, as this crosses the Florida Straits, could pick up intensity even more. The water here is about 90 degrees. So if you're in Florida, boy, prayers with you guys. Everything in here, this could be the worst storm to ever hit South Florida. There's just no other way to put it. North Florida, it's not going to be a lot better. Up into the Carolinas, even though the storm is tracking here, there's going to be a lot of rain and wind here, especially in here, South Carolina, Northeast Georgia, maybe tornadoes and heavy rain and flooding up in the North Carolina mountains. So, yes, the storm looked like it was kind of pausing, but tonight we can clearly see it starting to move to the north. And as I look at the radar, we're starting to see rain bands move into areas of South Beach and the Keys. So I'll have another update coming up tomorrow at 11 a.m. I'll do another vlog and, of course, post any updates as necessary. Please get out of South Florida if you can.